Continuing on, windows and doors, exterior windows and doors only. Must be below a U factor of 0.30 and an SHGC of 0.30. Not being an expert in the window and door industry, I'm not exactly certain what that means, but anytime you're looking at any purchases that may be eligible for this credit, you're going to want to talk to the manufacturer's rep, and maybe talk to Bob from Crowley and figure out whether or not the product that you're buying qualifies. Okay. So I was saying this credit is available for traditional homes. It's also available for manufactured homes, which is interesting. So if you know anyone that's in a mobile home that's considering doing some energy efficiency building envelope projects, it's a good, the credit is available to them as well. The property must be used in the taxpayer's principal residence. Like I said, I got ahead of myself a little bit, but that happens. The property must be originally placed in service by the taxpayer. So you can't take the used insulation out of your neighbor's house and put it into your house and be eligible for a credit. Don't know how many people would do that, but interesting nonetheless. And when we get into other, it is possible that people sometimes buy used, heating systems and try to put them into homes, and those would not qualify for the credit. It has to be a new system. The credit is available for all costs, including the cost of labor for the on-site installation. So that was the first credit. The second one deals with residential energy property. So we get into some interesting things here. So this credit, again, part of that overall $1,500 total credit that's available for people. This is for energy efficiency building property, which includes electric heat pumps, water heater that yields an energy factor of at least 2.0, electric heat pump achieving the highest efficiency tier established by the Consortium of Energy, central air conditioners that achieve the highest efficiency tier established by the Consortium of Energy, natural gas, propane, or oil water heater with either an energy factor of 0.82 or a thermal efficiency of 90%. So when you're talking about oil water heaters, perhaps, there is some chance in there that you can drop below that 90% threshold. Bob, we were talking about that the other day as well. Other property that qualifies for that credit is a biomass fuel stove with a thermal efficiency rating of at least 75%. And as we were saying earlier, biomass fuel is things like corn. It also includes wood. So wood pellets, pellet stoves are eligible for that. Some pellet stoves are eligible for that credit. Sort of in line with why we're here tonight is the qualified natural gas, propane, and oil furnace and hot water boilers. Now what's interesting is that the standards that were established by Congress are actually a little bit higher than the standards in the industry. The standards for oil furnace and hot water boilers is that they have to achieve an annual fuel utilization efficiency rate of at least 90%. That's pretty high. So if you're interested in doing that, I would encourage you to talk to Bob and get a better understanding of what the benefits are of the system and what the cost is to install it. In addition, they talk about the credits available for advanced main air circulating fans. And an advanced main air circulating fan is a fan that is used in a furnace, oil, natural gas, or propane, that has an annual electricity use of no more than 2% of the total energy use of the furnace. I don't know how common those are. Do you see a lot of those? Not really a whole lot of them. They're starting to make their way in. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of these credits to begin with. A lot of these credits they come about because Congress is trying to encourage people to do things that are socially responsible, and part of being socially responsible is doing things to, create a more efficient home for yourself, for your children, I guess. So that's the advanced main air circulating fan. Those are the two main credits that I see most often on people's tax returns, and that are the most achievable, I think, to the everyday people, and they're things that I think you can get the most bang for your buck. For example, putting insulation in windows and doors, it just makes good sense to do that and to cut down on your heating costs. But the last credit I wanted to talk about is the Residential Energy Efficiency Property Credit. These all sound the same, I realize that. This credit is equal to 30% of the cost of qualifying property without the $1,500 limit. So this is 30% until the cows come home. You get a 30% credit for the cost of installing this type of property. And what they're talking about here is, this is I like to call it the going off the grid credit. These are the people who are installing solar heating systems, hot water, electricity generation, small wind energy property, and geothermal heat pump property. So there's no limit on that $1,500. So if you spent, $10,000, you'd get a $3,000 credit for installing this property. The way the credit works here is that, so there were a few limitations before I go on. The home must receive half of its energy from the sun in order to qualify if it's a solar system. None of the property covers things like swimming pools and hot tubs. I know a lot of people are using solar to heat swimming pools now. But the important thing here is that the unused credit is carried forward indefinitely. So these credits can't offset your tax below zero, but what they can do is they can offset your tax to zero, and then in turn, in future years, you can use the credit to offset next year's tax until eventually you run out of it. So it's not like a use it or lose it thing. It'll carry forward for years to come. The way you claim these credits is you can claim them on your 2010 tax return, or if you are aware of expenses that you may have incurred last year that you didn't realize were eligible for the credit, you can file an amended tax return for 2009 and claim them there. I believe the form is 5906. I had intended on getting some samples of the form to show you what the credit looked like, but unfortunately I didn't get to do that. Like I had mentioned, the credits are available to offset your tax down to zero or down to what's called the alternative minimum tax, and I could fill up a 4-hour seminar on the alternative minimum tax if you're curious, but we won't do that tonight. I know that you're probably not that interested in that, but at any rate, you can offset your tax down to the alternative minimum tax or down to zero, whatever the greater of those two is.